everybody. So, today I'm going to do something a little different. I have exclusively done whispers in the last 3 videos, but today I'm going to try doing a soft spoken voice, even though I do not have the softest, most gentle voice in the world. Also, I currently have whitening strips on my teeth, so if you hear a little bit of a lisp, that might be what that is. Maybe you like it. Maybe I'll do more videos with the whitening strips in. But based on the title and what you can see now on screen, I will be talking about my top 10 favorite movies. This is a list that is constantly evolving and that I spend a lot more time than I should fretting over and working on and rearranging. I am a big movie guy. My dream job is to be a filmmaker. I do short films and I work as a contract videographer right now. So I've always had a passion for movies and for film. So I just thought it would be kind of a cool video topic to go over my top 10 list. And I will be going in reverse order, starting with number 10, which is American Psycho. Christian Bale is one of my favorite actors of all time. I'll watch pretty much anything that Christian Bale is in. If I see his name on a cast list, I'll at least look into a film. Even if I don't watch it, I'll watch the trailer. He's that much of a pull for me. I love this type of horror film, the slasher type movies. And I love the psychological edge that American Psycho brings with Patrick Bateman and his identity, and are things really happening or are they in his head, and all of those aspects, and the corporate American culture of the 90s. And I've read the novel by Bret Easton Ellis. It's definitely more gruesome than the movie, but if you're a fan of the movie like I am, then perhaps check out the book and vice versa. Moving on to number 9, and we have Nightcrawler, another psychological thriller. Jake Gyllenhaal. In my opinion, Nightcrawler might be Jake Gyllenhaal's best work he's done to date. I know he has done some amazing movies. Brokeback Mountain, of course, comes to mind, and Donnie Darko, of course. But the character he plays in Nightcrawler, Lou, his last name is escaping me at the moment, and the way you get inside the mind of this character and the way he operates and his ruthlessness and his callousness, and the entire time Jake Gyllenhaal is just acting like so well, so believable. It's one of the best acting performances I've ever seen. And also, he has some incredible outfits in this movie. Nightcrawler is the movie that single-handedly can convinced me that I need to buy Ray-Ban Clubmaster sunglasses because Jake Gyllenhaal wears the hell out of them in this movie. If you like psychological thrillers, and especially if you like movies with a very kind of dreary LA backdrop, kind of, if you like the movie Drive, you'll like Nightcrawler, I think. Moving on to number 8, we have The Return of the King. I love the Peter Jackson Lord of the Rings movies. For as old as they are now, as much as that hurts me to say because I predate the films, they have held up so well. His insistence to use practical effects where possible, to bring in extras, to be, orcs instead of using CGI orcs and things of that nature. Like, in my opinion, these movies, all 3 of them, are masterpieces. But my favorite of the 3 has to be The Return of the King. The Battle of Pelennor Fields. To this day, no matter how many times I watch that scene, I get chills. I tear up. I feel inspired. I feel I would ride with King Theoden into battle. That's how much this movie just touches me and brings me up. And just, I love this movie. I don't think I have to say much more about it than that. Like, you should know, even if you aren't a Lord of the Rings fan, if you're a fan of movies at all, you should know the impact that the Peter Jackson films had and how big they were and how good they are. Number 7, The Lighthouse. This is a more recent film than the others I've shown so far. But the film being shot in black and white, I believe that they also used antique lenses as well. And the way that Robert Eggers is able to just craft this tense, uncomfortable, eerie atmosphere in the movie, and the way that it's just, you're always kind of on the edge of your seat and not sure what's coming next. The first time I watched this movie, I hadn't read anything going into it. I didn't have any spoilers. I had just seen the trailer, and it was one of the best movie going theater experiences I've ever had, because you don't know what's coming next. And for that reason, I had to put it on this list, because no other movie on this list, I think, has made me feel the way this movie did when I saw it in theaters. And that's to say nothing of the spectacular performances by Robert Pattinson and Willem Dafoe, who, this might be the best performance Robert Pattinson has ever done. I know Good Time, I know he was incredible in Good Time, but in my opinion, this is a better movie, and he is better in this than he was in Good Time. 6, Halloween, the original from 1978, of course. This is my favorite horror movie of all time. I really struggled. I almost put a movie here in this spot that ended up not making this list at all, and that movie would have been Mandy, the one starring Nicolas Cage. So if you've never seen Mandy, check out Mandy. Anyways, Halloween, this is my favorite horror movie of all time. I love slasher movies. Michael Myers is my favorite of the big 3 slashers. And the fact that John Carpenter made this movie in the 70s with barely any money, and it's turned into such a big, like, cult hit, and it became so popular and drawn out into so many sequels. It's just a testament to what good filmmaking and good storytelling, it can carry a movie when the production value isn't as high because of a lower budget. And I still watch this movie every single year in October. It's a tradition. I have never missed a year. I always watch this movie. Number 5 is The Raid. Now, I love martial arts films. I'm a sucker for martial arts movies. I love Bruce Lee movies. I love, Jet Li, all those guys, Jackie Chan, the Ip Man movies. That actor's name is, I can't get it right now, but Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, stuff like that. But when I saw The Raid for the first time, this was another movie I went into blind. The level of gruesome violence and what they show, and just, it basically looks like they're actually killing each other with their bare hands. Like the choreography that went into this movie is so inspiring. And this is another movie that was made on a relatively small budget. The filmmaker had to go to Indonesia to get his movie made because he couldn't get it financed and produced anywhere else because of what he was hoping to accomplish. And I'm glad he did. The Raid 2 is also a very good movie, but in my opinion, the first one is better. It's a much simpler premise. The whole thing is just 20 cops go into one building, and they have to go floor by floor by floor by floor, clearing out guys who are just dead set on killing them. There are gunfights, there are knife fights, machete fights, hand-to-hand combat. The final 2 fights of this movie are some of the best martial arts action scenes ever put on film, in my opinion. Number 4 is The Grand Budapest Hotel. Wes Anderson is perhaps my second favorite director who is still currently working, and the way he has his own unique vision and his own unique style to all of his movies, with his centered shots, his use of color, his use of dialogue, and the characters he writes. It's like you're watching a painting. And I know this is not original commentary that I'm giving you, but it's like you're watching a painting or an animation of sorts. And his use of miniatures and things like that is just so eclectic, and it's so nostalgic to an era of Hollywood that doesn't exist anymore, and an era of Hollywood that I think captures what the best of movies can be, and something that the movie industry has really gotten away from lately. In my opinion, Wes Anderson is the closest we'll get currently to a mainstream art house director. He has a vision, and he is uncompromising in that vision. And unlike, I'm forgetting the exact terms, it has been a while since I've been in a film class. I believe the term is neo-realism, which is where the point of the movie is to make the viewers think it's real, is to get lost in it and think it's, oh, this is really happening. And this has led to things like gritty, washed out colors and gritty violence. The word gritty, as much as it's overused, gets thrown around too much. Wes Anderson is not interested in realism. He is making a movie, and you are watching a movie. He's not trying to make you think this is real life. It is art. It is like a stage play on screen, and the way he enacts his vision is beautiful. Anyway, on to the bronze medal. my third favorite film of all time is Blade Runner. So, I have loved the cyberpunk genre for as long as I can remember. You know, Neuromancer, Discworld, not Discworld, Neuromancer, you know, books like that, and the pen and paper role-playing games, and the video games, and the movies, although not as frequent, you know, like Cowboy Bebop. There's a lot of cyberpunk anime, more so than films. It's just such a fantastic genre, and that dystopian future. And Blade Runner was just, it's hard for me to put into words what I love about this movie, but you get that cyberpunk future, you get the Asian aesthetics that is so present in cyberpunk, you know, like the neon, the kanji, all that. You get the androids, the cybernetics, and then you get the darkness, the grounded in reality bit, the dirtiness, the griminess. And some of the effects that they were able to do in this movie, especially when they did them, the movie still holds up and still looks good today. And you can't say that for many movies that were this ambitious back in this era of movie making. Anyway, on to Silver Medal, my number 2 favorite movie of all time, Empire Strikes Back. Now, I am a massive Star Wars fan. I have a lightsaber tattoo on my right forearm. I have read so many Star Wars books. I have played so many Star Wars video games, and it's just always been a huge part of my life. I own multiple combat ready lightsabers for full force sparring. I own you know, cosplay for Star Wars characters. Star Wars has always been a huge part of my life, and Empire isn't, you know, it's not even an opinion. Empire is the best Star Wars movie ever made. Everything about Empire is perfect. The writing, the characters, the story arcs, you know, Luke's journey, his self-discovery, you know, good versus evil, and in evil winning, which for, you know, it was off the beaten path. Audiences back when Empire came out were not expecting the twists and the story beats that happened in this movie to happen, because it wasn't your typical good overcoming evil story. And in my opinion, Empire Strikes Back is as close as you can get to a perfect movie. It's a masterpiece of cinema, even though, you know, it's a nerdy sci-fi Star Wars movie. But that is a stereotype that we have now in the modern era, excuse me. When Empire came out, this was new, this was fresh, no one had seen anything like this before, and it, in my opinion, is one of the, it's not just one of my favorite movies ever, it is one of the best movies ever, one of the greatest films ever made. Now, Gold Medal, the winner, my favorite movie of all time. And this is the film that has never, for as long as I've been maintaining this list, left this spot. This has always been my favorite movie of all time, and I can safely assume this will always be my favorite movie of all time. And I will give you 5 seconds to guess it, because I know you will get it wrong. Reservoir Dogs. I held for gasps. Now, Reservoir Dogs is not Quentin Tarantino's best movie. That would probably be Inglourious Basterds, maybe Pulp Fiction, depending on who you ask. It's not his most popular movie. But what it is it's the movie that showed me I can do this. And it's the movie that ignited my love and passion for cinema and for filmmaking. I have seen Reservoir Dogs countless times. I have stolen shots from Reservoir Dogs. I have, Quentin Tarantino is my favorite director of all time, and in my opinion, the best working director right now. You could make an argument for Martin Scorsese, but in my opinion, Martin Scorsese has had some duds, and Quentin Tarantino has never missed with a film. Some people would argue Steven Spielberg, but I would say the same about him. Steven Spielberg has made bad movies. Quentin Tarantino has never made a bad movie. Reservoir Dogs, the way Quentin Tarantino writes his characters and his dialogue, it started here with this movie. And it inspired me to write that way when I do my own scripts. When I write, I also write short stories and novellas, and it inspired me for writing in those formats. And the fact that he did this movie back in the 90s for such little money, and it turned into what we know now. Everything since Reservoir Dogs is because of Reservoir Dogs. This is a movie made by a student of the art form. This is a movie made by someone who absorbed hundreds and hundreds of hours of cinema, of films from all over. Not just American movies, but a lot of Asian cinema, a lot of European cinema. And you can see what Quentin Tarantino borrowed from those masters of their craft, and he brought it all together into this movie, and it launched a career of one of the greatest American directors of all time. And for that reason, Reservoir Dogs will always be my number one favorite film ever. A bit of a short video today. I hope you guys liked the chess and the hockey. I've been liking making these ASMR videos. I feel I can do more variety with these than being locked into a series like I was doing before with the video games where I had to play the same game over and over and over. I can mix it up with this. I can have more fun with it. So, I'm going to keep doing these until either nobody is watching or I lose interest. I might do a top 10 favorite music albums next, although that'll probably be far less interesting. My music tastes are much less refined than my movie tastes, and I don't even have a top 10 list. I'd have to spend some time, but anyways, thank you so much for watching this video, and I will